Me, I'd be voting for Trump, especially on a night like this. Let's hear what the seer, the sage, Gerald Celente of Trends Journal, publisher and founder of Trends Research Institute. Let me start, if I may, dear Gerald, with my commiserations. Your country seems to be going to hell in a handcart. The FBI, once renowned throughout the world, they used to make TV series about it. It's revealed as a Keystone Cop outfit run by a bug-eyed clown who's running around on the FBI's dime, following his girlfriend at concerts. You've got two now very sinister murder cases in Rhode Island and in Boston, and not a dicky bird of a clue as to who carried out these two murders and if they were linked. And, small matter, you've got your president about to illegally declare war on Venezuela. Wow, what a time to be an American.
Well, you called it a country, and that's what it is. You got it?
No comment.
So here's the deal. Here's the deal. Let's go back, which nobody talks about. Talk about Venezuela. Let's go back to 2019, 2020, when Trump was president. And let's go to Google it up, his State of the Union address. He declares that Maduro, the president of Venezuela, is a socialist dictator, and that the United States will restore peace, etc., and that Maduro is illegal, and he will be smashed and broken. All right? Had nothing to do about the BS about their dealing drugs. And then, what no one talks about in the prostitute media, because that's all the mainstream media is, they're prostitutes. They're media whores that get paid to put out by their corporate pimps and government whoremasters. This little boy, Juan Guaido, is the real president, Trump said, of Venezuela, and he and 59 other countries are going to make sure that he becomes president. Everybody's forgotten about this. And all the members of Congress, and you got to put in ASS, it's Congress, all stand up and give that Guaido a standing ovation. And he stands there, and it was like you were saying about all these little arrogant generals and admirals with all their little gold buttons on, dressed up like in costumes, like it's still Halloween. He got this little piece of crap sitting next to him, Guaido, in the U.S. Congress over there, with all his medals on. And every one of the scumbag Congress men and women in our country stand up and gave him a round of applause. Now, you think the United States would have invaded Iraq, Libya, and Syria if their major export was broccoli? It's about stealing the oil and the natural resources of Venezuela. And I want to make this really clear. No outrage, zero outrage against the BS that spewed out of Trump's mouth when he was running for office in 2024. We want to have peace on earth all over. Hey, yeah, I just bombed Iran. Oh, only 112 bombs over Somalia. Hey, I'm a peace candidate, all right? Oh, how about I forgot Iran? One after another, now killing innocent people with no proof on little power boats 1,500 miles from America. Hey, they got drugs in here. We got proof. You don't kill people if they got drugs in there. You bring them to court. All right, but it goes on. You ready? That was on September 25th, 2024. Trump said that. Quote, "We're going to have peace through strength. We will not have to fight." Okay. That was on October 12th, 2024. This is when he's BSing and running for president. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. October 20th, 2024. I want immediate peace. January 20th, 2025. I'm moving quickly to end wars, settle conflicts, and restore the planet to peace. I want peace. Said the piece of crap on January 25th, 2025. Where's the outrage?
Gerald,
This guy lying his way into office.
He did. He lied his way into office. That much is clear, and that actually has turned out to be the least of his sins, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But maybe you could ask Judge Knapp for me what Trump meant when he said last night that Venezuela must return all the oil and the land that they have stolen from us. I mean, as I've been making the point, at least Rumsfeld, when he said it's not our fault that God put America's oil under other people's countries, at least he was acknowledging that the oil was under other people's countries. Trump last night declared that the land and the oil in Venezuela belonged to the U.S. What does that even mean?
That's what I said. You think it was the same thing with Iraq and with that little scumbag that just died? What was his name? That was with Halliburton. That was under the
Cheney.
When we invaded
Cheney.
Iraq under the Bush administration. What was that guy's name? Penis Cheney. I can't call him a dick. Penis Cheney. Oh, with Halliburton going into Iraq. Again, it's the same thing. Again, there's that great book, War's a Racket. I was looking for the comment here about from Smedley Butler, who wrote the book.
Yeah.
And it was said, it was about going, and here it is. You ready? War is a racket.
Yeah.
It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives. War's a racket. Nothing else to be said.
Yeah, and always has been. God bless the memory of Smedley Butler, the only general in the U.S. Army ever to tell the truth. But we're now at the end game, aren't we? If he starts this war tonight, as they say he's going to, what happens next, Gerald? Are people going to flock to the colors to go and fight in the jungles of Venezuela, or what?
People believe the crap that they sell. There's this little jerk I mentioned that Penis Cheney on the Bush, little Georgie Bush, pair of clones smaller than a mothball, little arrogant, moronic daddy's boy. After 9/11 happened, we're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden dead or alive. Afghan war, longest war in American history, killed hundreds of thousands of Afghans, cost us trillions of dollars. 90% of the people swallowed the crap spewing out of the mouth of that little boy, all right? They'll swallow the crap. They'll make up a false flag attack, and the people will believe it. One of my lines is, when all else fails, they take you to war. Oh, what preceded 9/11? Oh, the dot-com bust. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, we had forecast that in the Trends Journal when it was a quarterly. Now it's a weekly. In the autumn of 1999, we said it would bust by the second quarter of 2000. Oh, the NASDAQ went down only 80%. United States is in a recession. Hated little Georgie Bush. 9/11 happens, boop, a 180. Go back to the Great Depression. Yeah, history today. Right here for anybody, mainstream. The Great Depression is going on. Again, when all else fails, they take you to war. You ready? On July 26, 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt seizes all Japanese assets in the United States in retaliation for the Japanese occupation of French Indochina. Hey, French Indochina. Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, you're calling it French Indochina? Oh, yeah, we're robbing and pillaging up in Algeria, Morocco. Hey, we got the French Foreign Legion. You ready? The United States was joined by Britain and the Dutch East Indies. Dutch East Indies? What the hell are the Dutch doing up there in Indonesia? Oh, we're stealing, robbing, and pillaging. And you ready? The result? Japanese lost access to 3/4 of its overseas trade. 3/4 of its overseas trade and 88% of their imported oil. All right? They only import 100%. Okay, so you cut off their global trade. They can't get any oil, and you stole their money. I can't understand why they bombed Pearl Harbor. I've never been able to figure that out. They don't tell us this. They're going to pull the same crap with this. The United States economy is going down the crapper. Look at the numbers that came out with the people lost their jobs and how they keep, after they put out the lying numbers each month, then they revise them, how bad it is. Again, in the United States, the 10 richest people in the United States got $700 billion richer last year. This turned into Slavelandia. You had it, again, it's not what you like, what you want, what you wish for in trend forecasting. It's what is. I'm a Bronx guy. I know New York City. All right? They just elected this little boy of nothing that nobody ever heard of, Mondani. 34 years old, never heard of the guy. The mayor of the biggest city in America. How come? Because the people are broke and busted. All right? That's how bad America is. And by the way, this is very important. This is Generation Z, which equals Generation Zero. They got no dough. They're broken, busted. What happened in Nepal? Generation Z. Oh, what's going on in Kenya? Generation Z. Oh, they just overthrew the government of Bulgaria. Who did it? Generation Z. Oh, what about Tanzania, Morocco, Madagascar? One after another, Generation Z's taking to the street. Generation Zero, broke and busted. When all else fails, they take you to war. That's my greatest fear. And you mentioned, I heard some of it, these arrogant little clowns that are talking about how the people have to prepare for war in the UK and throw an F a U and a C in that UK with the jerks over there, and in England and in Germany. All telling the people to get ready for war.
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, of course. Gerald, one other area I wanted to touch on with you is what I called at the beginning of the show, the bull in the china shop became the cuck in the china shop at the Hanukkah festival last night. He was humped for Hanukkah in front of all the cameras, first by Miriam Adelson, then by proxy by Alan Dershowitz, and then in what could only be described as a humiliating pastiche by the big guy, Mark Levine. It was really quite humiliating. I felt embarrassed for the United States. It's quite clear that Israel's running Donald Trump, aren't they?
Oh, you mentioned Adelson. What did the old man give him? $100 million? Remember that? Hey, I'll be back when he was president the last time. Hey, we're moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, all right? Hey, you know that land you stole from Syria? Hey, it's yours, all right? And what did he get? Another couple of $100 million from Marion Ellison when he ran for office. Look at that little Huckabee jerk in there. One little clown after another. The United States ambassador to Israel. God told Abraham or Moses 3,500 years ago that this land belongs to the Jewish people. Oh, and these clown boys call themselves evangelical Christians? Hey, that's so. What Christ you talking about? How about thou shalt not kill? Thou shalt not steal. And save your fairy tale that God told them this 3,500 years ago. Shove it up here. You know what? Hey, what did God got lockjaw? Never spoke to anybody before or after? Oh, and all you people that call yourselves Christians, hey, Christmas time. I know you're concerned about how the markets will do with the maybe holiday sales and what Santa Claus will bring. How about the birth of the Prince of Peace? How come you little scumbags aren't talking about peace, huh? At the birth of Jesus Christ. And you're selling your crap. And where are all the religions? Oh, Christmas time, you believe in this stuff? How come you're not out there for peace? Oh, Santa Claus is coming to town. I forgot. Yeah, they lie. They say they're believers in the Prince of Peace, and they don't do crap for peace.
No, they're the antithesis of a peace presidency. But the humiliation last night for me was off the scale, and not least when Levine said to the world that you, President Trump, are our first Jewish president. And he said and repeated for a second time, it's true, it's true. Is he Jewish? Nothing wrong with that, but it would be wrong if he lied about it. It would be wrong if he allowed all these evangelical half-wits speaking in tongues, laying on hands, and touching him as if to touch the hem of his garment when they all thought he was a Christian. What is he?
How about Joe Biden? Called himself a Zionist. And how about that little clown boy that was the Secretary of State? Anthony Blinken. I went to Dalton. I went to Harvard. Don't you know my daddy was? He was the ambassador. Hungry. My uncle was the ambassador. That little arrogant clown. Oh, yeah. I come to Israel not only as a Secretary of State, but as a Jew. I could give a shit what religion you belong to. And I don't want to be getting involved in a religious war. And again, in your Trends Journal, going back to the spring of 2006, Crusades 2000, all right? 2006. While the seeds of the Crusades 2000 is implanted in full view of the world, and all those watching could have anticipated the eventual harvest, the memories of what happened and what would occur have been fogged by rigid ideology, fanatical religiosity, patriotic fervor, government propaganda, and ulterior motives. When we first forecast Crusades 2000, we wrote, quote, the formal battle lines for the new crusade had been drawn when Israel was created in 1948. Regardless of what England's reasons or intentions were, self-serving or otherwise, Crusades 2000 was set in motion in 1917's Balfour Declaration that laid the foundation for Israel. Quote, His Majesty's government. I'm going to stop right there for a second. You talked about the clown boys wearing those little gold things. How about this king clown with all his golden jewelry and the other stuff? If the king was Italian, they'd call these murderous bastards a mafia. But I'll keep going. Said His Majesty's government views with favor the establishment in Palestine of a national home for the Jewish people, and we will use our best endeavors to facilitate the achievement of this objective. All right? The Balfour Declaration brought to you by the Rothschilds? You stole the land from them. I got to believe this crap. Oh, and
well,
who
no, you don't.
Who
and
are
you
the
don't.
ones? And who are the ones that have been the presidents of Israel since they invented this thing? Eastern European Jews.
Yeah.
Not Semites. Oh, Ashkenazis. Oh, yeah. Ashkenazi. Ashkenazis.